Yo, what is going on, my fellow weebs? Chrono here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to actually go over a bit more in depth. I feel like it's more of a quick overview since I've already talked about it. We're going to talk about the roadmap, what I am looking forward to, what we're a little disappointed we don't see, and what to really think about when we take a look at it. But if you guys are new to the channel, as always, I'm Chrono from the cover PSO2 content. Would much appreciate subscribers. We're right towards that 10K mark, hopefully, by the end of this year. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into this. So during the headline, we had the announcement of the roadmap as well, and we were able to take a look at what we have on the horizon. And the roadmap is looking pretty good. In case you're curious as far as like how to find the roadmap on your own, you never have to worry about waiting for a video like this to pop up. You can head over to the ngs.pso2.com website, go over to overview, and there's a section for roadmap. You click on it, it should take you to the most recent roadmap. You can always go to the previous ones, I believe. How does that work again? Was it version 2? And then, yeah, you could then select the previous years, so on and so forth for the roadmaps and update information and so on and so forth. So nothing too crazy to go through there. It's pretty easy to get a hold of that information. But let's talk about our roadmap that we have currently. So the roadmap, they did a little bit of, I like to call it a little bit of PR trickery at the very beginning of the roadmap. I mean, technically this is correct. However, it makes it look a little beefier than it actually is. This here is the month we have coming up and basically the headline itself, right? So limited quest, trigger quest, dual phase quest, new area rank intruders, line strike, and then eminence and shadow collab scratch, along with a huge version. Was it Henrietta? I want to say her name was on the screen itself to basically show off this is where the Fantasy Star 2 anniversary celebration is happening essentially. I will say one thing, and this is like just something to either I don't want to say get used to or just kind of like it's kind of a nothing burger overall. If limited time quests being up here annoys you, this is about as normal as any game saying dailies. LTQs are not anything you usually get super excited over. Sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they're cool, like Sonic LTQs, so on and so forth. But realistically speaking, this is just a way to keep the daily grind somewhat fresh and keeping people going to different locations. You're going to see LTQs everywhere. You can mostly just eliminate this from anywhere that you see it. This is expected. It'll tell us just how often they're going to change up based on the amount of time that we have. Is it good? Is it bad? I'll leave that up to you to decide, but like it's mostly nothing. So either way, if it's something that people are like, oh, we don't want to see so many LTQs, removing LTQs doesn't add any more content. Like I said, it's just the dailies. So I look at this and I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. That's just my opinion on the matter. Of course, it's up to you. Trigger quests. I don't remember what this actually was for trigger quests specifically. Trigger quests are usually things that are going to pop up over at the counter itself. New rank for Alien Intruders. Funny enough, Alien Intruders is a trigger quest. I'm not sure if these two are related. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. I really just don't remember what this is, so it can't really be that important. Maybe it is, and I'm just forgetting. It might have something to do with the actual the anniversary, but either way, no big deal either side. Dual Quest Phase 5. This got pushed back to this point, so yeah, Phase 5 Dual Quest is what it is. Again, no big deal. Moving on. Line Strike release. Line Strike is awesome. So, I mean, some people are like, oh, this isn't really content, so on and so forth. I'm not going to say those people are selfish, but it's important to remember that there's more types of content in an MMO or in a live service game than just the combat related content. Just like we had creative spaces, just like we had a lot of other combat focused things like this are going to exist and they are important. I don't know how many times I've heard people cry out for the casino to come back and things like that, which I would love to see, but I don't think it's going to, as long as we have base PS2 that's still existing and the weird laws that have to do with gambling nowadays that you really can't get away with as easily. Things that already exist, usually pretty okay. Things newly coming around, you'll find it usually tends to not be gambling or casino related for the most part, and I think that's largely to do with that fact. Eminence and Shadow, one of the first collabs where I'm like, crap, I probably need to either spend or save up a ton for this collab. I want a lot of stuff from it, so pretty solid month we have going on here. So let's get into the actual interesting stuff. New high rank for Alio. This is kind of whatever. I mean, this is pretty much just the core of Phantasy Star games in general, going all the way back to something like PSU, just a new rank of what we already have. Yeah, actually going back to like PSO, honestly, same stuff. Celestial Exploration Expansion. I feel like this is mostly because of the Mars system, so this is just keeping up with our upgrades, so on and so forth. But usually with expansions, we usually see new camos, new enemy types. It refreshes the whole process of going into Celestial, so I like to see that they're updating this a lot sooner and they're not waiting too long to do that process. Nameless City Exploration Expansion, we're probably getting the next side of Nameless City. That's supposed to be, I think, an August to September timeframe, but that's super cool. Ordinal Tower expansion. I'm very happy to see this. They're actually bringing us back to Ordinal Tower, something that I thought had been long forgotten. So hopefully that sees some much needed updates. We'll have to see what's going to go along with that. We just know that there's going to be expansion. We don't know what that expansion is going to be. So very excited for that. Ultra high difficulty party quest. That's really cool. So we have an ultra high difficulty quest coming up. It's a party quest, probably a 4-man, likely going to be something that has, a certain amount of deaths, so on and so forth. So very excited to see that. Limited time quests, LTQs, as per usual. Nothing to really really pay attention to there. And limited time Alio Crimson Realm. Some people like Crimson Realm, some people don't. I really don't care for Crimson Realm all that much, but it is pretty solid to farm if you're putting the time into it, and you will get a lot of good resources, but not really my cup of tea. New action system Mars. Mars is awesome. Essentially, it's the way they describe it is similar to that of the previous Dark Blast from base PSO2, but with more customization overall. You can pick between 2 weapons out of 4 and 3 sub weapons out of 7, I believe they said. And essentially you'll have a bar that builds up when you go into a quest. That bar builds up over the course of 9 minutes. However, at 25% of that bar, you can go into your Mars system. The Mars system will be available during that time frame. You'll have attacks. It looks like there's also going to be like some form of PB or like ultimate attack or something like that, and you'll be able to jump in and out of it as you please. There's probably going to be some form of an internal cooldown. We don't know that for certain. They haven't shown it, nor have they confirmed it. And they only mention that the time is what affects the Mars system building up. We don't know if attacking any sort of time, if there's going to be any sort of fixes or anything like that will increase the Mars system. Now, I do think that the whole Nameless City exploration expansion, Lucille exploration expansion, and Ordinal Tower expansion have to do with the Mars system. So I feel like there's going to be things that tie into the Mars system for those. That's really about it. Keep in mind the Mars system also is usable in all pieces of content. So if there is something you're enjoying the difficulty of currently and you want to go ahead and get that difficulty train in now, go ahead and get it taken care of, because the Mars system is going to probably power creep that just a bit. And that's a bit of an understatement, to be perfectly honest. It's likely going to power creep it a good amount. So that's something you'll probably see people doing challenge runs, no Mars, so on low, blah, blah, blah. So just keep that in mind. Or if maybe you're struggling with a specific challenge, Mars might be what pushes you over the edge. So pretty cool. New cards being added. This is to be expected because of line strike, so pretty cool. Anime based on a light novel, anime based on a shonen manga. I'm not sure which one's which, but we know that we're getting a Shangri-La collaboration. They announced that one as well. I think it's the one that's based on the light novel. I don't think Shangri-La is considered a shonen manga, so pretty sure it's a light novel one. Halloween, new high rank for Stia. We thought they'd forgotten about Stia. Good to know they hadn't forgotten about it. LTQ, whatever, limited time urgent quests. Those are usually a little bit more interesting, so we'll have to see about that. Limited time Stia Crimson Realm. This is a bit more interesting to me because Stia has dex based, so a new rank for dex based with Crimson Realm. If we're strong enough, it might be pretty solid to farm for money, so we'll have to see how that goes. The Tector expansion is coming in. A lot of people are like I don't know how to really like parse this one, but people are like, oh, my class is forgotten, so on and so forth. Guys, they're not going in a specific order. They haven't forgotten about your class. There might be more things that are working on your class. They haven't really explained what the reason is for the order that classes are receiving their expansions in. It's not based on release, or it's not based on anything along those lines, or most need, so on and so forth, but someone's going to be last. The one thing we can probably guess for certain, or actually the one thing that I would excuse the complaints about, is if we saw a expansion for Waker or Slayer or something like that before every other class gets touched in some sort of way when it comes to expansions. So I can understand that, but until then, someone's going to go last, unfortunately. Just hang in there. Hopefully announce your expansion soon. Primarily talking about Bravers out there. I know you guys really want to see it as far as bow Bravers go, but hang in there, guys. You'll see it soon. Class level cap raise to 95. I mentioned this in previous videos. This isn't really all that exciting. Level cap raising doesn't really do much of anything these days other than give us more stats, as it's not adding new skills, nor is it adding new skill points. So nothing really changes all that much. So going to 95 is just going to 95. It's more numbers. Hopefully that changes in the future, but it's kind of a whatever sort of thing. New item lab feature. They mentioned that you'll be able to use other weapons to add some form of power to your current weapon. I'm not sure what that actually is. The only thing I can think of is in PSO2 base game, there was a system where you could upgrade a weapon to have a guaranteed affix move over during the affixing system. And granted, the affixes was more complicated back then, so like that's the only thing that really comes to mind in that. I think they were called SAFs back then, but essentially it was like a weapon series would have like a specific SAF that always moved over when it was used as fodder for affixing another piece of gear. Maybe that's something that they're doing. I'm not 100% sure. They really didn't go into far into depth with it. Idle NGS collaboration number 2. Fingers crossed, we see Jasper. That is the only thing I have to say about Idle collaboration number 2. If someone from SEGA is listening, please, 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 please bring back Jasper. Please bring back his original look. I beg of you. This is our one chance. Maybe not our one chance. The fact that they did a second one, maybe there'll be a third one. Who knows? December to January is NGS's 3.5 anniversary. So we have the new type of high difficulty solo quest. So this is really exciting for a lot of us who did play base PSO2, and some people probably like, yo, what's everyone so freaking out about? What's the big deal? This silhouette is very obviously a silhouette of another character. Let me see if I can pull up his look. Those of you guys who want to know what he looks like ahead of time, you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to skip ahead. Give me one sec. All right, here's our boy. This is very obviously Omega Masquerade. You can see, I'm kind of in the way, but you can kind of see based on the pictures we're looking at here on the left. Trying to make sure I don't really trust Google, but you can see very, very cool, very amazing looking boss. Absolutely love Omega Mask. Let me see, pop up an image in a new tab. Are we good here? Okay, yeah. Like Omega Mask is awesome. So essentially his quest, the way that it worked previously was that you would go in and you would fight him at level 1, and each time you beat him, he would level up once. And this was from 1 all the way to 999 actually. You had a certain number of attempts that you had, or certain number of completions you had a day. So for a while, people were just fighting Omega Mask the maximum times a day, getting all the way up to ridiculously high levels, all the way to 999, to the point where he basically would just one-shot you if he actually hit you. It was pretty crazy. There were rewards. He had pretty decent drop pool, loot table. It wasn't amazing. A lot of it was kind of crap. It was mostly just X cubes for a lot of things, but like, you could hit some pretty lucky rewards, as well as some guaranteed rewards at certain tiers from titles and so on and so forth. In later iterations, they released another quest called Solo Sodom that, of course, toned down the number of levels you had to go through. It went from 999 to 100, and you had like I think 5 a day, so you could get through it much quicker. And they had some very important rewards there as well. The big thing to keep in mind here is that Omega Masquerade had a mechanic where he would essentially start to resist certain PAs. So the overbloat that that base PS2 had when it came to PAs was a bit of a was fairly useful in this situation. You would have to use different weapons, so on and so forth, but it was designed at a time that that Hero was kind of the main class that released, so it kind of fit very closely to Hero's whole idea of using different weapons and different PAs to continuously keep their damage up. So basically the fight was designed for Hero overall. Every other class kind of made it work, but that's where the major design for this fight was primarily. So we're hoping that this is going to kind of bring us back to that. The big thing is a new type of high difficulty solo quest. This isn't a dual quest. We likely are going to see something similar come back, but I'm curious to see what the rewards are going to be, if they're going to be bringing back titles, so on and so forth. So fingers crossed this ends up being good, and if it is end up being crap, well, start offering feedback, start making a little bit of noise, but do it in a respectful way, of course. Limited time quest 2, of course, LTQs or whatever. Limited time nameless city exploration expansion. I don't know what that's all about. It might have something to do with the story tie-in to Omega Masquerade or something like that. Who knows? Limited time urgent quests. Again, I mean, that's a little bit more interesting, but you have to see what those these urgent quests are. Tech Arts customization expansion. I have been waiting for one of these. Hopefully we get to see some AoE for Bouncer. We have 2 more PAs to go through, so we should be seeing some interesting things. New cards for Line Strike, and the game from another company. So another collaboration with another game. We'll have to see what that's going to be all about. No idea, but look forward to your speculation in the comments. February to March, we have Urgent Quest Colossal Boss Suppression, Lucille Exploration Expansion, and Limited Time Quest 4. So Lucille Expansion is coming out as well, which is nice to see. They are doing regular updates for Lucille. Lucille Exploration is actually quite fun, but it does get stale very quickly when there's nothing really going on over there, or they're not really drops that are worth going into. It turns into another daily, essentially, and some people even skip the Lucille daily. I'm going to still go for it while I'm still trying to get one of my camos, but it's understandable why it gets skipped. Because if it's not the current weapon people are going after, then it's really not all that important. And then, of course, level cap raise to 100. Like I said beforehand, level cap raises aren't all that interesting outside of just bigger number get bigger. It allows us to farm more effectively, as if we're over leveled for the target that we're fighting, we'll be able to use other weapons that'll be very powerful, similar to what I talked about in yesterday's video. So cool. It might not be too bad, but we'll have to see how things go there. But that's pretty much it. The only thing that I'm like, it's kind of sucks not seeing, but I don't think that it's something that we aren't going to see, is there is no story on this roadmap. Now, I personally don't believe that means we're not going to get any story for the next 6 months. I think that the story just has not been ironed out, nor do they know when they're going to release it. We will likely see some form of small story release with the Mars system, as it's part of the story that they were working on it. We'll likely see side episodes released, as well as we'll probably see a storyline come out with the whole colossal boss situation, or possibly with the Masquerade situation. Masquerade might be like a whole, hey, we found data to fight something, you're fighting in a data space, whatever, blah 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 blah. Who knows? But I don't think we're going to see no story for the next 6 months, like a lot of people are thinking that's happening right now. Just keep in mind, things that aren't on this roadmap just are not currently, like, they don't have an iron out spot for it. Like I said, schedule is accurate at time of broadcast, which is 6/2024, but is subject to change. Meaning you could see these things, you could also not see them. They could also be moved around depending upon what's going on. But what I found, and what most game companies do nowadays after the debacle that was World of Warcraft or Blizzard Entertainment, talking about things that they're working on and then never releasing them. You don't talk about something unless you plan on releasing it, or unless you have a good time frame of when it's going to be out. That's it. That's all I've got for you guys today. I have got to get to a stream myself. We got some Final Fantasy 14 shenanigans going on. So yeah, we'll be jumping into that. You guys will see that stream go live fairly soon. If you're watching this video, probably will still be live as this video goes out. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being awesome, you guys. Shout out to the channel members, and I will see you all next time. I'm so bad at outros. Do all the YouTube things. It helps. Take care, my friends. Peace out.